How's it going today? We are doing a comparison video. Welcome to the video. What we're going to be doing is I have a Kemper Profiler, as you can see here, and a Splawn street rod, also known as it's a quick rod. It's a 50-watt quick rod is what it is. And it has 2 gears. So we're going to be doing clean and distorted on the Plexi hot rod channel, which is channel 1. Or mode 1 in the distortion channel. And then we're going to be doing the JCM 800 hot rod mode, which is mode 2 of the distortion channel. So I've got 3 profiles. I already made the profiles to make this video a little shorter here, hopefully. So I just did the profiles here this evening, and we're going to be doing a comparison. How we're going to run it is we're going to do, I've got the Splawn connected right now directly to the Splawn Cab, which is a 4x12 with mic'd up with a Sennheiser E906. With Eminence small block speakers in it. So I've had the Kemper for about a month now. I've been using a lot of profiles. I'll explain the why of what we're doing today for just a few seconds. I play here at church. You can probably tell this is a church here in the background. And I got a Kemper to lower the stage volume a bit and run direct, run in-ears and maybe run a cab here. I was running through the Splawn's power section to have a little stage monitoring if I want to have a little bit still, So I've been doing that, and I've been noticing I tried the stock profiles, and I bought some profiles from Tone Junkie, from Top Jimmy, and from Big Hairy Profiles, BHP, and I've noticed the Kemper's cleans and semi-distorted tones are really good. So they sound really nice for worship, and we play kind of like more of like rock music here. So we'll play praise and worship and rock, and even some heavier stuff than that sometimes. My tones will be hard rock tones sometimes, so I do use distorted profiles quite a bit. And when you get high gain with the Kemper, I've been noticing with all the profiles I've got. Now, Tone Junkie has excellent clean. I love their divided J11 profile. I love their, the 65 London profile that they have, or 65 England. That profile is great for mid-gain tones, but when you go high gain with some of the stuff from anyone, the Kemper has this strange like cocked wah sound, almost like a half-cocked wah in the like the mid-range when you get really high gain, especially when you boost it. And then also there's something different about the low end, and you'll see when we get to the hot-rodded Plexi sound, the hot-rodded JCM 800 sound, there's something, the character is a little different in the distortion. So I was hoping, I bought this hoping this to be a one and done solution for me, and I was really like hoping that this would work out because it would lower volume and if I could get the same tones I've got. And I've been using other people's tones, and other people's profiles. I really like the tri-axis profile from Big Hairy Profiles. In the tracks, it sounds great. As you can tell, I've got the guitar is a, just gonna get close here. It's a Music Man Majesty. It's a really early one. It's like number 122, I think, off the line. So it's a real early one. The neck's a little thin for me, but it sounds good. But anyway, yeah, so we're gonna do, first up, I'll announce it as we do it, because I'm gonna cut some of this to shorten it up, and then I'm gonna put put each sound that I'm playing back to back and try to play the identical thing through it. And we're gonna go direct Splawn, direct. But by direct, I'm going to plug in directly to the Splawn through the E906, and then we're going to go direct Kemper with no cab, and then you're going to be able to hear the Kemper through the Splawn's power section into the Splawn cabinet. So technically, the Kemper would only be like a preamp then, and we'll see how that sounds. So I'm betting it's going to sound a lot better through the cabinet, of course, through the tube power supply. But my main point here is to look at the direct profile, the direct out, and see what's going on there and why it doesn't sound quite the same. Maybe the tube power section adds something to the sound that it needs to sound almost identical to amps. But I'm open to have my mind changed here. But anyway, so we will see what happens, and let's go ahead and start on the clean channel of the Splawn. I'm going to run through each of those tones real quick, and then we will put them all back to back so you can see it that way too. Okay, the Splawn clean through the E906 on the clean channel. let's get a quick sound clip of the same chord. I'm going to play like this double stop, open, I'm in drop D as well. So we can have a direct comparison. Let's do I want to get all the strings in on this. What is a good chord here? Let's do a G and drop D. I'm going to do that on each setting, and so we can do a back-to-back chord comparison. Did a couple chords there and just a little simple lead for the cleans. I'm going to try to keep things simple so we can hear what the sound differences are. Let's go to the hot rodded Plexi sound. So I have it, it's pretty loud in here. It's like probably 120 decibels at the cab or something like that. Okay, this is hot rodded JCM 800, and I'm going to play the same chords, same simple riffs here. that's all the sounds we need there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video here. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed it, go ahead and smash that like button, right? Hit the like button and ring that bell, right? To see more of this type of content, as well as motovlogs that I have on the channel. I have some gaming stuff too, but I'm gonna keep doing more testing with this. I think we're going to profile a Vox AC30 next that I have, and we'll compare that. I believe that will go pretty well because of its mostly cleaner amp, but it can get pretty gainy too. So I did hear quite a difference on this, to be honest with you guys, through the running in-ear monitors here from the board. So I did hear quite a bit of difference between the amps. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little more testing. I'll let the camera run and stuff. I'm gonna do some A/Bing right now, just for my own gratification, I guess, here to figure it out, and then I will put these clips side by side and try to shorten this video down a bit for you guys so you can hear little clips, little sound bites of each right next to each other to see if there's a character difference between them. There is a bit of a feel difference. There's a lot of a feel difference, especially when you go direct. There is quite a feel difference, of course, because there's no cabinet behind you moving air. Now, when you put the Kemper through the cabinet, it does feel a bit different, the way it responds. You can feel the lows and stuff here in the room, but when you hit the strings, it's not quite as maybe chewy would be the right word for it. It doesn't feel quite the same. I know this is an unpopular opinion again. I'm sorry. What can I do about it? It is what it is. So maybe it's just my specific setup. I don't know what it is, but it is very close. So I think, as kind of a wrap up here, I think that the Kemper would be really good for someone who maybe didn't play tube amps I've been playing tube amps for probably a decade now. Maybe 12 years. I'm in my 30s. I'm 33. I've had Splawns for over a decade. I have a nitro back there as well. I need to get some new tubes for. We could profile that as well. So this would be good for somebody who maybe really has to do recording and playing silent late at night. They have close neighbors and that kind of thing, which I do at home, but here, I don't, so you can play as loud as you want. So that's a luxury. A lot of people don't have that luxury. To record in, in a space where you can play as loud as you want. So unless you're Johan, or Johan Sedgeborn. But yeah, so I guess it would be good for somebody who, in that application, or somebody who isn't used to playing tube amps for, a decade, 2 decades, whatever, and maybe they really love that specific thing that tubes do that can't really be replicated perfectly quite yet. Digitally, they're getting close, but it's still not. I mean, I stayed out of the digital digital guitar stuff for quite a while, because I tried it, 10 years ago or more, and it just wasn't there. Then I started playing around with bias to practice at home, and that was good, running through my iPad just to practice and such. Sounded fine for that, sounded great. But for playing live, I've been trying to look for a quieter solution, and unfortunately, I think the Kemper just isn't going to be it for me. So I think I'm going to, I've got 2 other options. You get 2 other options here. You can, of course, there's Axe Effects or Helix. There's 3 major options. There's other smaller options like Amplitude and smaller companies that people may like. But I'm going to try the Axe Effects next. I think what's probably going to end up happening is I'm going to end up going rack gear and tube rack gear. So I'm probably going to end up going tri-axis into a power amp and using the Axe Effects as the effects for that. But I'm going to start by buying, this is my thought process here, I'm going to start by buying the Axe Effects and see how it sounds, but I'm going to buy an Axe Effects 2 that's cheaper, and then I'm going to run the Splawn and maybe the Vox, depending on what we're doing here. I'm going to run the Axe Effects through the effects loop and just use the effects in the Axe Effects, since from what I've heard, the Axe Effects, the effects in there are better than what's in the Kemper. There's a lot more options for reverbs and delays, so I'm going to use that as my stereo. It'll be stereo if I run both amps, but I'll use that as my effects. And if the amps sound good enough, I'll use it when we travel, because sometimes we go out and play in a local, it's a correctional facility here, and we go play there. So it's a very large area, like a large gymnasium. A lot of guys come to watch and worship and such, and listen to the music and the preaching. So I'll bring the Axe Effects with me there if it sounds good enough for a small travel rig. If it really doesn't, then I'd bring this combo with me too. Last time I brought the combo with me, but it's quite loud, and it's a big gymnasium. So I was looking for that kind of a solution as well. We'll see how that goes. So there's a couple solutions. You can go if you're looking for a quiet recording solution, of course, there's Kemper, there's Helix, and there's Axe-Fx. But if you want to go just have a bunch of different tones, that was the whole idea when I first started this, was to have a whole bunch of different tones. And have them, you can call them up for different songs. So we play a lot of covers, we play some originals, and I wanted a bunch of different sounds. So I wanted some small amp sounds, wanted some big amp sounds, like small amp cleans, big amp cleans, and then have small amp distortion. By small amp, I mean like 30 watts or less, 15 watt sounds. And then get your big, huge, like DR103 high watt sounds, and have these different sounds that you can call up and use. That was kind of the idea. So I think a good happy medium to that is, if I want to stay all tube, I'm gonna go tube pre, build a rack and do, tri-axis into a Fryette or into a Mesa, and then you can use that for those different tones. I'm gonna always keep these Splawns though, because they have, they really have sentimental value to me at this point. I played them for so long, and they really sound good. And that's the sound that I like. That's me, basically. So that's why I started with this amp and doing this comparison. But anyway, thanks again for listening to me. This is the extended rant portion of the video, which I may include or I may not, so we'll see. But thanks again for watching, and go ahead and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'm going to do some little testing back and forth here, and I may include the video, I might not, but it's just for my own listening. But thanks again. Appreciate you guys. Hope you're doing well. So I did some more playing through with this, and I can really tell that the Kemper just is not as open, especially with the gain sounds, at least with this profile. The chords are more compressed. Everything's more compressed. I could try turning the gain down a little bit, but this is how it was profiled. I haven't touched anything. I haven't touched any settings at all. So maybe I could tweak it to get it sounding a little closer. But this is exactly how it was profiled, and it was refined. So this is the Hot Rod JCM 800 sound, and that I've been going back and forth between. And this is through the cabinet, so not just the direct profiles, which you'll hear back and forth in the video, But yeah, it's the feel is similar as far as playing goes, but the Kemper isn't quite as chewy when you dig in, like I said before, so that confirmed. But the sound is like, there's not as much bass in the sound. This is running through the power amp of the Splawn through the same cabinet. It's lacking in the low end, and the compression is just not, there's more compression, and the chords are not as defined. So I guess I could turn up the definition a bit and such and mess with that, but as it stands now, as it's profiled, I'll try messing with it a little more, but I hate to say it, it is, maybe it's just one of those amps that are hard to profile. That could be the case. So if you want Splawn tone, you need to buy a real Splawn. It is what it is. I mean, if you want this like actual Splawn tone, you need to go out, you need to call Scott Splawn, and you need to order a quick rod or a a nitro, and if you want, I mean, you guys can be the judge. This is just my opinion. This is future Matt's opinion here after playing through both a little bit. You guys can listen and see. Maybe it will sound even closer than I think on the recording. I don't know, but standing in the room here, it's not quite the same. So let me try. I'll try messing a little bit here for a second to see if I can get it a little closer, and then maybe report back if I can get a little closer. But as it stands, you know, it's not quite the same. So anyway, thanks again for listening to me rant. Future Matt here again. What I said before, I guess still stands true. It sounds much better with the cabinet off, of course, going into a power amp into a cabinet. But there's still something about the gain is not the same. It's still a little more compressed, not as badly, but it's still more compressed than the Splawn itself. And the low end, there is quite a bit more low end this way, but it's still not quite the same character. I guess it maybe is a little low end roll off, which I guess you'd roll off anyway in the mix, you know. But as far as feeling on stage, if you're talking about stage feel, there is still a difference. So, like I said, it's not meant to be an amp in the room solution. At least it isn't right now. Maybe when the Kemper Cone comes out, it'll come closer. But yeah, it's definitely not 100%. You know, if you combine maybe the feel and the way that the guitar feel and the way it feels out of the cabinet, I would say 80%, 80-85%. You know, I mean, but I've played this amp, and I've played these amps for years, for like 10 years. So, you know, I know what they sound like, you know what I mean? So if you weren't as familiar with the amp and you A-beat it or something, you would, it'd be even closer to you. But when you've played an amp for a long time, you can tell the character difference in it. And it's not that it's a bad sound. See, here's the thing. It's not a bad sound. It's a different sound. So it's not that the Kemper sounds bad. It's that if you want a specific tone, like you want the Splawn tone and you want the authentic tone, you need to buy that tube amp. It is what it is. It's not a perfect replication. It's probably closer on the clean amps in mid-gain, kind of mid-distortion breakup. It's probably much closer, but with the high-gain stuff, the Kemper just isn't there. It's not the same. It's not a bad sound, it's just not the same sound as a tube amp. So, you know, take it for what it's worth. For me, you can kind of hear that, the digital compression, because a lot of you guys know a waveform is, an analog waveform is smooth, you know, it's like a sine wave, and then a digital waveform is on-off. So, you know, it is what it is. And even though when I'm going into the power section of the Splawn here, it maybe will, you know, will change that as it goes into the cabinet. It'll change the wave, but it still isn't outputting from the preamp the same way. So there's a lot going on here. I'm really interested to hear what the direct sound is, you know, with the cabinet on. But anyway, I'm not sure how much of this is going to make it into the video, but if it does, this is going to be a much longer video than I thought it was going to be. I was trying to make a simple comparison video, but these things are never simple. You know how that goes. So thanks again for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Appreciate you guys. And we'll go ahead and leave some comments and just give me your thoughts with the 3 different modelers, the big 3, so to speak, and then tube amps, you know. It's been fun tonight comparing them, so we'll see you guys later again.